All right, welcome back to we got week 11 going on right here of the Other Side Sports show slash podcast slash whatever we are. And Emmons, how you doing, buddy?
Good, man. Another episode 11, ready to do it.
Shout out Willie Adames, first career hit, home run off Chris Sale. Shout out. So we're gonna start off today with some NBA playoffs. Talk about obviously the two games that are going on, but we're gonna get into some LeBron Jordan versus Michael Jordan debate, and then we're gonna talk about some good coaches in the NBA. We have some varying opinions on where Brad Stevens should be ranked. Then we're gonna do our hold up segment, and then we're gonna talk about some baseball, talk about the Dodgers, talk about the Braves, and some other teams that are playing above or below expectations. Then we're going to talk about the pace of play rules, and then I'll close this out with my what's on my mind topic for this week. So let's just jump right into this, Emmons. Rockets and Warriors. How are you feeling about it?
It's over before it started. I mean, the Rockets look great in game two, but I was talking about this yesterday with somebody I know, and I mean, the Rockets are pretty much an equivalent to what the Warriors were with pre-KD, and they went out in game three and beat them by 40. I mean, and it wasn't fair. The Rockets literally have to play a perfect game the next or the next 3 games or 3 more games to win. And they're just not going to do it. I mean, you literally have to outscore the Warriors, and that's almost impossible to do. No one can guard Kevin Durant.
Yeah,
Rockets aren't going to win another game. Unfortunately.
I missed the first quarter, but I caught most of the rest of the game. Yeah, I mean, there's not much else to say.
It's what's unfortunate because the Rockets are really good, but
you knew going into the series that what it was going to be, and everybody said, well, the Rockets are made to beat the Warriors, and it's like, well, no, they're not.
That's the thing that people don't get is because they're like the poor man's version of the Warriors, right? They can score like crazy. But if you're going to beat the Warriors, you're going to need to be a team like the Pelicans who can take you down low. And even that's not enough. I mean, you need to force Golden State to play big. You got to get them out of their lineup of Iggy, Draymond, Clay, Durant, and Steph. And no team's able to do that right now, and that's why they're unstoppable.
Well, see, I think the problem with the Rockets comes from the fact that they're a three-point shooting team. And if your three ball isn't falling, like you have nothing,
right.
you have nothing to fall back on.
Yeah, exactly.
So, and if you don't it's not like you can dish it to Clint Capella and he could take over the game.
Right.
That's just not something he can do. And so, I don't have a whole lot more to say on this series, to be honest. I think
the interesting one's over in the East. This one was over before it started.
I think Golden State wins tonight, and then I think they go back to Houston, and Golden State beats them again, and then they sit and they wait on whoever comes out of the East.
Yeah, I mean, I called the sweep, and I'm not shocked. The Houston won one game, kind of just stole one from Golden State. They played perfect, and Golden State just kind of mailed it in. Looked like they're just kind of conserving energy, and then they came out in game 3 and just, wasn't even fair. That's all I gotta say.
Yeah. So let's move on to the actual entertaining game, and that's or series. And that's
funny because it's a really entertaining series, and none of the games have really been like last night's game was closer than it really was.
Yeah, so last night's game was the closest one that we've seen so far in the conference finals, and really it really still wasn't even that close.
Right.
But I think the margin of victory was finally single digits. So.
Yep. So I think that was the first time for either series, which is crazy.
Yeah. So to me, that game last night was exactly what I anticipated this series to be. I figured I think Boston played at their level last night, were basically where they're at, where they're going to play, and Cleveland played at their level. I think LeBron had 48 points. Maybe it was 44.
42. I think it was 42.
42.
Not for sure. 42, 45, one of those two.
Yeah, so LeBron obviously carried the team. He had almost, and I think between his points and then his assists, he accounted for over 60% of the offense.
Right.
So that's expected. And then, the role players get involved a little bit to help carry the load a little bit. And then they played decent defense against Boston. They actually played pretty good defense, especially on Al Horford down low. Shout out Tristan Thompson. And so, like, I just that game is what I expected the series to be. I didn't expect it to be the huge Boston blowouts from Game 1 and 2, and I didn't expect it to be the huge Cleveland blowout from Game 3. Game 4 is exactly what I expected from this series.
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, this is a really tough series to really read because you look at the first two games and the Celtics absolutely just dominated. You come into Game 3, the Cavaliers dominate, and they pretty much dominated most of Game 4. For the Cavaliers, they're going to have to continue to play this defense on the Celtics because the role players kind of stepped up, but you still didn't get much from Kevin Love scoring-wise. Only had 9 points, I believe. I think the next best score besides LeBron's 42 was 14 or 13 points. So if they can continue to play the style of defense they've been playing on Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum, even though Jaylen Brown still got his 25, but the Celtics still got a shot. I think for the series is going to go one of two ways for me. It's either the Cavs are going to win in 6 or the Celtics win in 7.
So I think the toughest thing is going to be for the Cavs now is they're going to get all these days off in between games since it's 1-1-1 from here on out.
Right.
Basically a best of 3.
Right.
And I think all the days off actually hurt that team.
Yeah, for sure. Because they're clicking right now.
Right. I feel like they find their stroke in Game 1 at home, and then they have the day off, and then they come back, and they're right back to hitting the ground. But then now they're probably going to take, 2 or 3 days off before they play again in Boston, and then they're going to take 2 or 3 days off before they play again in Cleveland, and then 2 or 3 days off before they play. So I feel like the break is just, that's kind of what's throwing them off their rhythm. And I feel like that's why they kind of crushed Toronto, is they had a really good Game 1, and then they just never lost the momentum.
Yeah, Toronto is a bad team to match up with the Cavs. They don't play any kind of defense, and that's not a good thing when you're playing the best player in the world. So, Celtics got a shot because of their defense, because of their home court advantage, because of my boy Brad Stevens.
We'll talk about it in a minute. I won't say anything right now.
So I don't know. I think the home court is huge in the series. If the Cavs can steal one Game 5, I think they're taking it in 6. If the Celtics win, I'm gonna say right now, whoever wins Game 5 wins the series because I believe the home team's gonna win the rest of the series. But if the Cavs can steal Game 5, they win in Game 6.
I think from what I saw is history says that whoever wins this Game 5 is going to win the series.
It's like an 80-some%.
Yeah, so I'm still gonna stick by my pick from the beginning and take the Cavs.
For sure.
Now, you asked me a question today in one of the chats that we were talking. You said, "Are you picking LeBron over the Warriors?" And I said, "No way." If Kevin Love can
hot take incoming,
maybe. If Tyronn Lue can actually get it to the point where Kevin Love can have a game like he did in Game 3, and J.R. Smith and Kyle Korver give the effort that they gave. They even were getting Larry Nance Jr. involved. If they can get and Tristan Thompson, get all those guys involved and get them going like they did in Game 3, and even they still played pretty good Game 4. Kevin Love didn't, but the rest of them did. If they can
Kevin Love he didn't play bad. He just couldn't score the ball. He didn't play bad.
If they can get all of the pieces rolling with LeBron James, I would actually be tempted to pick the Cavs in 7. I don't see it. I just can't see. I just can't see all of those pieces gelling together in the same game at the same time.
That's the thing I will always say about the Warriors is that they gel so well, right? You got for sure 2 top 5 players in the league on your team, and Klay Thompson you can argue is top 10. He's really quiet. He's the best shooter at his position, best defensive player at his position at the 2 guard in the league. So you can argue he's top 10. So that's 3 top 10 guys on your roster, and you throw in the perfect glue guy in the league like Draymond Green. You just don't see super teams click like this, right? And it's because they grew together, and you just added Kevin Durant.
Well, and then we talked about this today too. Andre Iguodala, he's a Finals MVP. He won a Finals MVP.
He's way past his prime, but he's still Andre Iguodala. He's still a really good player.
He's no slouch.
So. And they can you stop Kevin Durant, fine, we're going to throw Steph at you. No one in the NBA gets hotter than Klay Thompson does in an instant. That man can I forgot what game it was. He scored 29 points in the third quarter. That's his second best in his career for a quarter. He scored 35 in a quarter, I believe, last year in the third quarter. So it's they can just throw so much at you, man. It's not fair.
I
And
I think if the Cavs do end up matching up with the Warriors, I think the best thing for the Cavs will be like getting LeBron James to drive like over and over and over and over.
he's gonna have to.
Like you have to get them in some kind of foul trouble because I assume it's going to be Draymond or it's going to be Kevin Durant on LeBron.
They're probably gonna throw a little bit of both at
Yeah,
him.
so like you have
They'll even put Clay at him at times.
like LeBron is going to have to get those guys into foul trouble if they want to have any chance to kind of get to really stay in that series and not get swept.
And that's another thing that's dangerous about the Warriors because you see the Celtics do it. You're not going to stop LeBron. I mean, he's going to get his. He's going to do what he wants in the game, right? So you throw different guys at him. I mean, and the Warriors have the guys to do probably the best or capable in the league because they play so small compared to like centers and stuff. You got Andre Iguodala, who's a great defensive player. You got Draymond Green, very physical. Kevin Durant, I mean, he's not the strongest, but I mean, he's lanky. He can keep up with you. And then you got a guy like Clay, who's he's a 2-guard, a little smaller than LeBron, but he's a great defensive, one of the best defensive on-ball defenders in the league. So you can throw all of this at him, and it just different things he doesn't see all the time. So the Warriors just match up with every team perfectly, and that's what's so scary.
You can't really. I don't think you can really put Clay on LeBron though because LeBron's just.
I agree.
LeBron's gonna manhandle him.
Well, they've done it before in the last few finals, and he wasn't great at it, but he's succeeded on a couple of plays. That's why you switch him off because you're not going to let him get the feel for Clay and what he's trying to do, so you can just spin off of him. It all depends on what LeBron's doing in the game and what you're going to throw at him.
Right, and that's why I think it's critical for LeBron to drive and get fouls is because if you can go to halftime with Durant, Draymond, and Clay all 2 to 3 fouls at halftime. You're looking pretty good for that second half. There's a good chance you could probably get one of them to foul out, especially if it's a close game.
Right.
So.
Yeah, for sure. They got so much firepower, man. It's unfortunate because you want the first couple of LeBron versus the Warriors finals have been so entertaining, man. But this is a different animal. This is a different Warriors team.
Yeah, I'm hoping if it does end up being Cavs Warriors, me personally, I hope LeBron can pull it out. Just for his legacy, and that'll take us into our next next topic, which is where do we sit on LeBron James compared to Michael Jordan?
Yeah, this is where you wish our third guy was here, Matthew. He's dealing with some other stuff right now. He might be joining us tonight, but me and you both agree on this. I think it's closer than you do, but when you look at the things LeBron's accomplished in his career, and then you look at his physical, actual basketball capability, I just think talent-wise he's better. He doesn't have the 6 championships, but it's not like Michael Jordan just made finals every single year like LeBron does. He was 6-0, yes, but let's not forget it took him until the bad boys and Larry Bird were washed up until he could take the Eastern Conference and get to the finals. Now, given the bad boys and Larry Bird and those Celtics are a tall task, but if you couldn't beat them once to get there when they were in their prime, so it's LeBron for me. Obviously I'm a little biased. He's my generation, not my generation, but me watching him. So I think his resume is more impressive without the finals, but the things he's done throughout his career, he's been playing longer. Given Michael didn't come in for a few because he went to college, but he's not slowing down. He never gets hurt. He hasn't taken a break from the league. It's just LeBron James to me.
Yeah, see, I'm going same. And I didn't watch Michael in his era, and I hear about everybody talks about how he was so dominant and he was the most dominant player of his time. And then in the same breath, they turn around and say, well, look at all these great teams that existed at the time. Look at this player and this player and this player and this player. It's like, okay, how can you sit there and throw out 10 names at me and say he was the most dominant player by far? Like, LeBron James is literally the most dominant player by far in his era.
Yeah, for sure.
I would say that after Kobe retired, and lost his step and he retired, hands down, it went to LeBron.
And what does impress me about Jordan though is, I mean, he wasn't no slouch. I mean, he was a really strong player. LeBron's gifted with a 6'8", 250 something pound frame, and he can move like any guard in the NBA. But Michael didn't have the blessed size that LeBron did, but he still dominated. I mean, he would come out and score more than he right now in this era than he did back in the day. Because in his defense, he did get beat up a lot more than LeBron did or does. I mean, stuff that would be called flagrant twos, technical ejection from the game, happened to Michael all the time. He fought through it. But I mean, I guess that's my defense to Michael. I mean, my thing is I don't really like comparing the two, in my opinion. And I've talked to you about this before. I think they're two completely different players. Michael Jordan is more of a pure scorer. LeBron does a little bit of everything, which is another positive for Michael or LeBron's side. I mean, he just straight up makes the team better wherever he goes, right? I mean, you look at when Michael left the Bulls, Scottie Pippen was still able to win with that team.
Right. And
in that defense, I mean, LeBron's never, besides Dwayne Wade and Chris Bosh at the same time, he's never left a team with a Scottie Pippen. Like, every time he left the Cavs, I mean, they were just atrocious. So.
Oh, and not to mention that, Jordan had Pat Riley at the time. When they started winning, he had Pat Riley.
And he had Phil Jackson, too, early on.
Yeah, and Phil Jackson. So,
LeBron's dealing with Tyler Lue right now, who's not a good coach.
So, like, it just makes you wonder, like, what happened if LeBron had Pop?
Right.
Like, how many championships would LeBron have won if he had Pop?
Right, but we do also got to remember. I mean, he did have Spoelstra, who is a good coach. He's no Popovich or Phil Jackson or Pat Riley, but Pat Riley wasn't in charge of that team in Miami. So I mean, but other than that, I mean, he just had Ty Lue and Mike Brown. So it's not like
and
the dude from wherever he was from, Turkey, I think.
Yeah, and if we're gonna make the argument for best player ever, like, from what like LeBron or Michael was a better scorer. You could argue that LeBron, when he was younger, they were probably about the same on the defensive side of the ball. Even though Jordan, I think, was like an 8-time first-team All-Defense.
Yeah.
LeBron was on those All-Defense teams, too, at the early points in his career. And Michael wasn't carrying his team like LeBron is, so LeBron's a lot more fatigued, got a lot more miles on his legs than Jordan does.
Yeah, I think a lot of the thing people bring up too in the argument is the Mavs loss that he had with the Heat. People don't realize that Heat team wasn't ready. It was literally just him, Chris Bosh, and Dwayne Wade. It wasn't as deep as it was as the next few years when they added pieces to that team like Ray Allen and guys like that. So, and that Mavs team was no slouch. I mean, you got Hall of Famer Dirk Nowitzki on the team. Jason Terry was there. I mean, JJ Barea was playing out of his damn mind. I mean, he's not a household name, but
well, and there's a chance that by the time LeBron's career is over, and that's another point for me, is his longevity. He's probably going to be the all-time NBA leader in scoring. He'll probably be top 5 to top 3 in assists. I don't know where he stands on the list as far as like triple doubles, but I'm sure he has to be up there.
The triple doubles are kind of becoming boring to me. I almost want to make a rule that it's got to be 20 points and then 10 and 10 to at least even talk about it.
Yeah,
because you see guys it's impressive, but you see so many all-around players getting 12, 10 and 10, and that's just not as impressive to me anymore. I mean, it's cool and everything, but it's just so watered down now.
Right. And so my last point about like the LeBron versus Michael thing is, like you said, LeBron is better. I feel like LeBron is kind of better at everything than Jordan was. Like, maybe not the 2-point, not the jump shot, but LeBron's better from 3-point range. LeBron drives. LeBron can back people down. LeBron's an excellent, an elite passer.
Crazy vision.
So for me, it's LeBron and then MJ.
I think we've also seen LeBron become more of a team player as of the last few years. I had this conversation yesterday. Once LeBron came back to Cleveland, I feel like he really matured. Like something just clicked, and the Pep Riley thing wasn't his idea, but he was still kind of immature with how he handled everything. But he really grew when he came back to Cleveland, in my opinion. That's what really clicked in him, and which is just he's been on this dominant run these last 4 years, just him personally.
Well, and I think the flack that LeBron James catches is because, like you said, he did the decision or whatever, and then they had the little pep rally thing. And LeBron is like, everybody's like, it's LeBron's fault that these super teams exist because he left and went to Miami.
Right.
Well, like, even if that's the case, like, who cares? Like, his organization wasn't doing enough to get him pieces to win. So he was like, you know what? I'm taking it into my own hands. I'm going to go here and play with these guys, and I'm going to win a championship.
And I'm glad you brought that up because I hate how much slack Kevin Durant gets. I mean, I get it. He went to the team that beat him in the Western Conference Finals after they're up 3-1, right? But that's like you get a job offer from a company who dominates your company every year, but they're offering you more money and you're going to have more success there. Why would you not take it? It's not like he owes the city of Oklahoma City anything. You know what I mean? I mean, he's given a lot for them. He won a lot of games. He never gelled with Russell Westbrook. Why would you not go play with guys when you know you can get that championship and play the game? It's the same thing for any free agent. They don't owe, like, I think fans get too attached to players. It's a business. They don't owe us anything.
Right. And I think somebody was making the point that, you know, well, LeBron, Michael is better than LeBron, yada yada. And then they literally turned around and said in their next statement, not really realizing that it probably contradicted themselves, a 73-win Warrior team, the best record ever in the NBA, lost to LeBron James in the finals. And then Kevin Durant goes, well, I can't beat him. They can't beat him.
Right.
With that, you know, I guess we have to form up if we want to beat LeBron James. Right. So honestly, I feel like if Kevin Durant doesn't join the Warriors last year, LeBron James wins his 4th title. And then if he's still not on the Warriors this year, LeBron James wins his 5th title.
That's tough to say because if Draymond Green doesn't get suspended in that series they lost, they don't lose that series.
Yeah, but I mean, that's all up for debate. That's all hearsay.
Right, but I mean, they were dominating that series, and they lost their. I mean, without Kevin Durant, Draymond Green is still the most important piece on that team. He kind of checks everybody. I'm not going to guarantee they were going to win that series, but I mean, they're up 3-1, and he gets ejected. They lose Game 6 or Game 5 or whatever it was, and then Cleveland gets the momentum.
Yeah, but it's all hearsay. You can't say that.
You can't say what you just said too about LeBron winning his.
Hey, don't let it distract you from the fact that Golden State blew a 3-1 to lead. Okay.
Hey, that team on your hat that you're wearing right now did too.
So, we touched on coaches a little bit. So let's talk about NBA coaches. You tell me where you stand as far as how you're feeling. Specifically, I think that the big issue that we're having is specifically with Brad Stevens.
I think we agree that Popovich is above everybody else, right?
Yeah. So if we're gonna do like an A tier, a B tier, a C tier, Popovich stands alone to me in that.
He's above the A tier. Popovich is his Popovich tier, and then you got your A tier. I put Stevens there, and there's a few reasons I do. He hasn't won like a championship, but the things he's done so far since he's been in the league, you look at guys like an Isaiah Thomas, played his best basketball by far, even with all the injuries he dealt with in Boston with the Celtics. He left, he can't find his groove. His ego has kind of gotten bigger like it was when he was in Sacramento without Brad. He was kind of quiet in Boston. You look at a guy like Marcus Morris who comes in from Detroit. He's averaging 5 more points a game with playing less minutes than he did in Detroit. All of his numbers are up. You look at other guys that Brad Stevens has coached that they left or they're there now. They're playing their best basketball with him. I just think he finds the ways to get his guys to play at their best level. He's won everywhere he's been at. He took a mid-major Butler program. 1 year, yes, Gordon Hayward went and lost to Duke, a loaded Duke team. The next year, he loses Gordon Hayward, comes back with nobody on his roster, and makes the Final Four again. So he's won every level he's been at. And if we want to really compare, like, all right, he hasn't won a championship or whatever, that's fine. You can look at a guy like a Rick Carlisle who won one with, or I don't know, the most recent one was with the Mavs. I mean, he never really was, but he was always a great coach. To me, great players will always win championships. I think coaching in the NBA is only important when you got a team like Boston. I mean, because you got LeBron with Ty Lue, I'm sorry, Ty Lue does not do anything besides talk in the press conference and just sit there on the bench looking lost half the game. So that's to me. Brad Stevens just impresses me with the in-game adjustments he makes. I actually think with that Celtics team, Brad Stevens matters. Like, he's an actual factor in every series he's in.
So here's my thing on Brad Stevens. Like you said, the biggest thing for me is that he hasn't won anything.
I can't hear you.
You can't hear me? Can you hear me now? No? Okay. Well, my thing is working, so that's interesting. You good? Check your headphones. Talk?
I'm gonna hang up and call back.
Okay, go for it. Well, this is not good. Welcome back. Can you hear me? No?
Talk.
No? Huh. Okay. Let's see. We'll move that to the side for a second. So we're going to take a quick break till we get this figured out. We'll be right back with this. So hold on 1 second for us. Okay, sorry about that. We're back. We're good. Everything's fixed.
I'm actually gonna have to do my first little bit of editing for once on when I go to upload the SoundCloud and everything.
Yeah, so we're back. We're good. Okay. So like I was saying, so the biggest thing for me is Brad Stevens hasn't won, like you said. And everybody keeps saying, well, he's done so much with so little. He's done so much with so little. Did he really though? I mean, look at that team. Kyrie was there most of the season, okay?
On and off.
Yeah, but he played like at least 40 games, right?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, so he played at least half the season. And then Jaylen Brown, Al Horford, and Al Horford was a good player before he got to Boston.
Al Horford's a fun. Yeah,
let's clear that up. Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, those guys are both number 3 overall picks. Okay, so and then you got Terry Rozier, who's a number 14 overall pick, I believe. So
who struggled for his first few years until he started playing for Brad Stevens.
But he's still 14th overall pick.
Once Brad Stevens started coaching him, he started playing well.
So and then they who's the other guy? Not Marcus Morris. Marcus Smart. Marcus Smart, I think, was like a number 3 overall pick.
He's also a head case before he got to Brad Stevens.
So he's got everybody's like, well, he's doing more with less. What less? Like that's the thing though. There's 4 top 10 picks on that team right now.
Besides a guy like
besides Gordon Hayward and Kyrie Irving, who haven't played.
Yeah, but hang on. How many in the NBA, besides guys like LeBron, besides guys like a Ben Simmons and a Donovan Mitchell, come in and dominate right away?
Kobe, Carmelo, Dewey Wade, Chris Bosh, Damian Lillard.
That's all in one draft. I mean, but
Kevin Durant, Russell Westbrook,
and how many busts are there?
Paul George, Victor Oladipo.
I mean, I can dominate right away. Victor Oladipo took 4 or 5 years until he started playing well.
So
you named about 5 guys who played great right away.
So
Jason Tatum is 19 years old. The fact that he's going out there and playing his best basketball as one of the main guys is insane in today's game. Against a guy like LeBron James, Jaylen Brown he wasn't that good as a rookie last year. He progressed a lot this year after he had 1 year of coaching with Brad Stevens. These guys get coached up. Terry Rozier was nobody as a 14 pick until Brad Stevens started coaching him and he started playing minutes.
When did Terry Rozier get to Boston?
He's been there, but he hasn't played.
Okay, so you could argue, well, Brad Stevens has been the coach there for like 4 years. So that's been Brad Stevens' decision not to play him.
Right, because he's coaching him. Terry Rozier was not ready for the NBA when he got into the game. Did you watch Terry Rozier at Louisville?
I did not know.
Okay, he was not NBA ready when he left.
Well, he ended up being a top 15 draft pick, so
Because the NBA, Anthony Bennett went number 1 overall. The NBA drafts on potential, not skill.
I don't know who Anthony
That's a
Bennett
fact.
is. So
Exactly.
So, like, if I'm grading coaches, like, I'm putting Pop obviously above everybody, but then I'm putting guys, Rick Carlisle ahead of him, Steve Kerr ahead of him,
How can you put Steve Kerr ahead of him?
Eric Spoelstra ahead of him.
You're talking about what Brad Stevens has on his team. You're going to give Steve Kerr that credit?
Dude, Steve Kerr won championships before Kevin Durant showed up, okay? So
You won one, and that was Mark Jackson's team.
Let's just get that straight.
That was Mark Jackson's team.
Okay,
Steve
so
Kerr has done nothing. Steve Kerr let the players coach in a game.
That could borderline be genius. Like, that could borderline be genius. But here's my thing about coaches, okay, is I really don't like when we jump to these really quick conclusions with these coaches, because, like...
Terry Rozier's only been on the Celtics since 2016, and he was hurt 1 year.
Okay, so Doug Peterson, right, for the Eagles, everybody's like, he's one of the top 5 coaches in the league. Why? Like, he had a good team, and he won a Super Bowl. Like, that doesn't just guarantee him as a top 5 coach.
Same thing with Steve Kerr.
Okay, we can. Steve Kerr has won multiple championships. Okay, he beat LeBron twice.
With arguably the best roster in NBA history.
Look, he's beat LeBron twice. Okay, if Brad
until
Brad Stevens beats LeBron James, we're not gonna have this conversation.
Oh, thank God Matthew's here. Give Brad Stevens the Warriors. How can you say Brad Stevens has all these pieces and then say Steve Kerr is better than him? Steve Kerr was given Mark Jackson's team, won a championship, lost a championship, added the second best player in the world in Kevin Durant.
What did Mark Jackson do? What did Mark Jackson do with that Warriors team? What did he do? Did he win a championship? Did he win a championship? No. Did he make it? Did he make it to a Western Conference Finals? No. He had Steph Curry for years. Steph Curry's 30 years old.
Pause.
Steph Curry also didn't come in the league right away.
Pause. I'll have you
Hello,
pause.
Matthew.
Number 1, he had Steph Curry for like 2 seasons. Number 2,
Matthew, make it a good point because we're gonna have to move on.
Go ahead, Matthew. We're doing this debate.
Number 2, the Warriors team before Mark Jackson got in there and started coaching these guys was terrible. Number 3,
horrible.
Steph Curry was not the Steph Curry you see today on ESPN. Okay, Mark Jackson actually coached that dude up and how to be. When you go back and watch the draft night analysis of him, it was terrible. They said he couldn't handle the ball, he couldn't pass, he couldn't do any of this stuff. That's why he dropped. And finally, their record each year under him went up and up and up. It was actually it was going up. It was trending up. He didn't trend down. He didn't plateau off. It was going up. So no, don't. No, Mark Jackson.
Real quick. Let me just give Matthew this. With Brad Stevens, obviously you're a Boston Celtic fan. Look at what guys who have came and left have done. What has Isaiah Thomas done since he's been gone?
Right.
And he was hurt in Boston too with Brad Stevens.
Well, the Isaiah Thomas thing isn't fair because Isaiah Thomas has openly came out, and I think even the Celtics have kind of openly came out and said they mismanaged that injury situation.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah, I mean Isaiah Thomas has also called Brad Stevens the best coach he's ever played for.
That's really not fair.
Josh, I have a question for you. Who did Isaiah Thomas play for before the Celtics?
The Kings. Sacramento Kings.
No.
Damn.
No. Phoenix Suns. And he was not very good. That's why we got him for cheap. The thing about Brad Stevens is he gets the most out of his talent. They listen to him.
Marcus Morris.
NBA players do not listen to their coaches. They think they know it all. They're paid big money. That's why Billy Donovan can't do well in Oklahoma City with those people. That's why I give Steve Kerr a lot of credits because those guys will listen to him. He has that it factor with them. But let me tell you something. Brad Stevens gets the most out of those guys listen to him when he coaches something. And that's not common in the NBA. He has something. I don't know what it is. He just has something that they're like, oh, okay, coach, we got you. Oh, you need me to sit on the bench this game? No problem, coach. And then they'll come out and they have Marcus Smart is a hothead.
I was just about to say, look at guys, Marcus Smart and Terry Rozier coming out of college were head cases.
Let me tell you why. Let me tell you why they listened to him, okay? They listened to him because if I will tell you right now, if Kyrie Irving was playing right now, they actually might not be playing as well as they are, because Kyrie Irving's kind of got that attitude too.
Kyrie Irving has played fine under Brad Stevens. He has not had. He's been a completely different player under Brad Stevens.
He was not the same head case under him.
But the thing is, they have been counted out the entire way. Everybody said, well, they're going to lose to the Bucks. No Kyrie, no Hayward. They're losing to the Bucks. All right, no Kyrie, no Hayward. They're definitely losing to the Sixers this time. No Kyrie, no Hayward.
So you're taking it away from Brad when everybody doubted them. It has nothing to do with Brad Stevens.
That makes the whole point.
You're making an argument for us.
No, because that's why the players listen to him. It has nothing to do with him as a coach. It has to
do
with
the players listened to him before that. The players have listened to him since he's been there. What about last year? What'd
they do last year?
They got to the Eastern Conference Finals.
I know that.
That's what I'm trying to
Without Kyrie, without Gordon Hayward, without all these pieces. What, they have Al Horford
on the team. There was no offense on that team except Isaiah Thomas, and he was hurt. He couldn't even play.
All right, well, and I'm not as versed in this as I thought I was, so we'll move on.
No, you're not.
We'll move on.
Thank you for joining, Matthew. I was heated. He got me heated.
I have a story for you.
Isaiah does say in the chat 73-9, but we're gonna move on. So let's go into hold up.
He had the best team in NBA history.
Yeah, I know.
By the
That's
way,
kind of the point.
How many did Luke Walton win before he got back?
Right.
73-9 team.
So, Emmons, before we start the hold up segment of the show, please listen to the questions. Okay? So, we're going to start with statement 1. Tom Brady and Rob Gronkowski did not show up for voluntary OTAs. Rumors have kind of circulated that Brady and Gronk are pretty unhappy with their contracts, and that could be the cause of them not showing up. And then we know they had the ESPN article that surfaced a while back talking about issues with the trainer and all that. So here's your statement. Either Tom Brady, Rob Gronkowski, or Bill Belichick will not be a part of the Patriots for 2019 OTAs. I agree. I think Rob's gonna end up retiring.
I think Rob's done. I think Rob's the one that's gonna be gone.
I think he's gonna.
I wouldn't be shocked if he was done in midseason.
Especially if he gets injured. I could see him dipping out. All right, that was easy. Move on to statement 2. Odell Beckham Jr. did show up for OTAs with the Giants. He stated he wants to be one of the highest players in the league, not just at wide receiver.
Of course he does.
And it's pretty much assumed that he's not going to play a game of football until he gets a new contract. So here's your statement. Odell Beckham Jr. will get a new contract before the start of the regular season.
I can see that happening.
I'm going to say hold up. I don't think they're going to give it to him. I don't think they'll give it to him. I think it's going to kind of be a situation where they're going to say, hey, you know, you had this incident in London while you were on a Nike trip, and you need to prove to us that you're dedicated to football. You need to prove that you're going to bounce back from your injury from last year. I think he tore his ACL. And we can't invest money into you until we know what we're going to get back from you. Now, OTAs could change that. If they feel like he's doing well in OTAs, then maybe they could change that. But until they get a little bit of game time under their belt, I don't see that they're going to sign him to anything.
I think if they were going to run that risk, they would have traded back in the draft. I think they would have got more pieces.
Maybe. But because then you could look at it like he walks, you still have Barkley there, and Barkley's a game changer for you. So statement number 3.
Give me a good one.
Oh, I got a good one. I got a couple good ones. Mookie Betts currently leads the league in extra base hits, batting average, on-base percentage, and as of the start of the game tonight, because he hit a 3-run home run against the Rays, he leads the league in home runs. The Red Sox are half a game behind the Yankees in the AL East. So here's your statement. Mookie Betts will win the MVP award. I guess you didn't like that one either, Evans. All right.
I like it. I agree with it. I mean, I'm disagreeing with all these.
All right. Well, this one you're both going to say hold up on. I already know. Okay.
Is it about LeBron James Jr.?
Cardinals rookie Jordan Hicks threw 3 pitches of 105 miles per hour to Phillies outfielder Odubel Herrera. He alone has thrown the 5 fastest pitches of the 2018 Major League season. Here's your statement. One of the 3 of us could get a base hit against Jordan Hicks.
Hold up.
I can't. I've never played organized baseball in my life, dude.
Listen,
no, I can't get a base hit.
I played some Wii baseball with a teacher for like 5 minutes today, and I had to just give him the controller because I just couldn't.
Yeah, I mean, I played baseball and like pick up baseball at like parks and stuff, but I mean,
I played baseball for 11 years. I was through high school. I was only a pitcher in high school because I could not hit. I could not hit Jordan Hicks either, and I played for 11 years. That man throws hard. And if you've seen his movement on the pitch, like if you watch Greg Maddux back in the day, those sliders and stuff with all the movement he has,
really?
He's got nasty sink on it, like a 2-seam, like a sinker 2-seam sink. Oh, man, it's disgusting. He throws, and it's 104, 105 miles an hour. It's gross. Just go.
Real quick, a tidbit too. I like what the Rays did with Romo or Sergio. What's his name?
Hey, stop talking. Stop talking.
Wow.
We got a "What's on My Mind" segment coming up later. Emmett.
Wow! Looks like I broke news here during the show.
Yeah,
I love it.
Well, because you texted me and I was like, I'm talking about this. And you're like, I don't know what that is, and then you bring it up anyway. All right,
See, Matthew. See, I know these things.
So here's the last statement, and this is a long one, so I need you guys to stay with me, okay? So we're talking about 105 miles an hour, okay? The first pitch ever thrown over 100 miles an hour was Nolan Ryan in 1974. Nowadays, almost every team has at least one pitcher somewhere in their organization that throws at least 100. We're seeing some of the best players in the game right now between Mike Trout, Manny Machado, Jose Altuve, Chris Bryant, Bryce Harper. Some of these guys, like probably some of the best ever to play the game, especially at their positions. You've got future Hall of Famers still playing: Albert Pujols, Yadi Molina, Joey Votto, Dustin Pedroia, Adrian Beltre, Miguel Cabrera. You got all these guys. There's a two-way phenom right now, Shohei Ohtani, similar to Babe Ruth. That list that I just gave you doesn't even include guys like Clayton Kershaw, Buster Posey, Max Scherzer, all these excellent guys. Then you still have all the young players: Aaron Judge, Rhys Hoskins, Ronald Acuna Jr., Ozzie Albies, Walker Buehler, Vlad Guerrero Jr., Fernando Tatis Jr., and tons and tons and tons more of young stars. Here's your statement. Between dominant pitching, launch angles, premium defenders in the infield and the outfield, and a very young crop of future stars, we are witnessing the best era of Major League Baseball ever.
Hold up. I don't see it. I think it's gotten better, but I don't think you're getting the best ever. I mean, there's got to be a time period where it was much more, because you don't even have your best athletes necessarily come into baseball anymore. I mean, it used to be like that was the sport. So there's got to be an era at some point that was better.
Let me tell you why.
It's such a long history. It's such a long history.
Right, but let me tell you why this is the best era. Okay, just from a pure, from a pure performance standpoint, Ty Cobb would not be able to hit Jordan Hicks. Ty Cobb would not be able to hit Clayton Kershaw. Like if Ty Cobb played today, Ty Cobb would be a 150 hitter. If Whitey Ford or even Nolan Ryan pitched today against some of these guys that are coming up through the big leagues, dude, they're not like they're probably gonna have like 7 ERAs if that.
If you take some of these, like in any sport, and bring them to today's game, they would get dominated on every single level. The milk, for example, milk that we drink has stuff in it that they never had in it. Like there's a reason why we're bigger, faster, and stronger.
Right.
That doesn't necessarily mean it's the best era ever, just because they're bigger, faster, and stronger.
I'm okay with that, but it makes the game more competitive, more rounded. Like there's more. Every team has the availability to these young stars, to these guys that throw 100, to these guys that hit 50 home runs. Like every team has that ability.
I think in every sport, we are looking at the talent-wise, pure athleticism. We're at the best, just pure talent we've ever been in any sport. When I think of best era, I also think of popularity of the sport.
Right, that's what I was going with.
Yeah. People just don't enjoy baseball as much as they used to. I agree with you in a standpoint of I think it's the most talented players have ever been, but we're still not. I just don't think we're there as a country, I guess, or just as a fan base for MLB being the most popular era it's at right now. I think when you say it's the best era, it's more than just talent, in my opinion. I guess is just what I'm looking at. I don't necessarily disagree with you, but I do. When you brought up this topic, I immediately thought how popular baseball is to people that are just kind of casual sports fans.
So my thing is all of it combined. Okay, there's dominant pitching, but at the same time, there's elite hitters. There's almost every single player in the league, almost every single one, fields above 95%. So like it's not like the old days where you suck in the field, so we'll put you at first base because you can swing the bat. That doesn't happen anymore. Now guys can swing the bat, they can field. And my biggest thing with like I said, like the guys back then couldn't compete today. You're looking at guys like the older guys like Miguel Cabrera, Adrian Beltre, I think, was one of them. Even Paul Goldschmidt, who's not even that old. They're struggling to hit fastballs that are 96 miles an hour plus. There's actual numbers and statistics to back that up. That every pitch that they see over 96, they just can't hit because they're too old. Their reaction time slowed down.
For Miggy's dealt with injuries for the last 5 years. His back,
that's fine. But like Paul Goldschmidt's only 26.
I was just about to say. I'm just from a Miguel standpoint. I wouldn't really put him in that category because he's dealt with bad back issues. He's got a bad oblique. He's got bad everything. So he's hurt all the time.
Goldschmidt doesn't have a single hit on a pitch over 96 this year, and he's seen like 40 of them.
But see, you're still just bringing up the talent aspect of it. I don't disagree with you there. It's not America. Baseball is not the most popular sport like it used to be.
Right.
And that's when you think about the best era. If you're gonna say fine, it's the best talent era purely, fine. But you can say that about every other league in major sports.
And it'll never be like the most popular again because the game's probably run the longest. And I guess you could say that they're the most boring because people aren't hitting people like they are in football and hockey and really basketball to an extent.
But here's the thing, Josh.
So there's no violence.
But the thing is, though, if you're going from John is saying, if you're going from a pure talent standpoint,
every
single sport, and every few years, you're going to make that same statement. This is no longer going to be the best ever. You're going to, in like 10 years, you're going to say that about that next one because just genetics, technology, the things that they could do with their bodies with recovery and everything, all these different things are going to keep evolving. Trust me, I know I'm working to develop that kind of stuff. It's just every few years you're going to keep saying that same thing. So It's got to be more than just talent because they're just going to get bigger, better, faster,
you're looking at the future almost of.
Yeah. But I'm okay with that because the talent is the most fun to watch. Like I've watched baseball.
Yeah, but see,
I'm
saying that there's no argument.
Yeah, but see, you can't consider. We have to consider
every year.
We have to consider the general fan base. The three of us, we are avid sports fans. You're one of the biggest baseball fans I ever met. So of course, the pure talent is going to matter to you, right? For me, watching soccer, my favorite sport to watch, the pure talent on the field and watching what happens in game is the most entertaining to me. You on the outside, it's not fun to watch because they don't score 8 goals a game. But me, I'm watching it. I'm seeing the talent of passing, the talent of just the art of the game. It's like a chess match. That talent has gotten better since I was a kid. Every sport is like that. Mm-hmm. And it's when you're looking at it from just a casual fan base, that's not necessarily what matters to them. No. They want just pure entertainment for them. What's going to drag them in? You have people going to baseball games now just for a gathering with their friends. People don't even pay attention to the game. I mean, and that's other sports too. It's not just baseball.
Right.
But I just think when I'm thinking of best era, it's when people enjoyed the sport the most, and that's just not now.
Yeah.
All right, we can agree to disagree. So let's move on to our MLB topics. We kind of need to go through these a little quick, but we'll get there. So let's talk about the first one. Let's talk about the Dodgers. They're 20-27, fourth place in the.
Were they on a
AL.
win streak or something? I thought I saw something where they're on a win streak.
No.
No? Okay, I forgot what team I saw.
They went into a 7-game series with the Reds and the Marlins, and they came out of that 1-6.
Okay, maybe it was a losing streak they're on. I thought I saw something from the Dodgers.
So they're 20-27, fourth place in the NL West right now. Matthew, do you think they can turn around and make the playoffs?
Yeah, well, they're only 5 games back. I mean, it's not like they're. If they were over there in the East, they'd be 12 games back. 14 back. So you're playing in a division that's not doing very well in general. So it's a long season. That's another thing that turns their fans away from this era. But it's a long season. So, yeah, I think they could turn around. They got the talent. But the question is going to be, when do they start selling? Like if they're at what point, if they're not back in it, or the Rockies or the Diamondbacks take off, do they start selling? So I think there's time. They can. It's a bad division.
Yeah. My thing is, I'm going to make a point of this. I think, like you said, they're only 5 games back. There's just something going on with that team. I think if they want to make the playoffs, they're going to have to make a big splash at the trade deadline, in my opinion. So until they make that move, I'm going to say no. I just don't think. Like you said, they came out of that 7 games in 2 series, and they came out with 2 wins or 1 win. That's just not winning baseball. I think they need another piece, and until they trade for that piece, maybe a Manny Machado can take him over the top. But
so, I'm going to agree with both of you, actually. So the Diamondbacks, I predicted the Diamondbacks to win the division at the beginning of the year. I'm going to stick with that because Paul Goldschmidt is hitting under 200, and that team is still vying for first place in that division. And Goldschmidt hasn't even gotten going yet. I think the Dodgers can get into the playoffs, but it's going to be as a wild card team. The thing that's hurt the Dodgers, and everybody's kind of forgotten this, like all the baseball writers that I've seen and stuff that are talking about, the Dodgers are in a really bad place right now. Justin Turner just came off the DL. Just came off the DL.
Right.
And he's their best hitter. Like, the game that they won against the Marlins a couple days ago, he had 5 RBIs. Like, he's their best hitter. He's their number 3 hitter, and they were lacking, like, that guy that could get on base and drive in runs for them. Not only that, but Clayton Kershaw is out and hasn't been there. He should come back. I think he's still got like 3 more weeks before he's projected to come back. And so they're only 7 games under 500. If they can hang right around that area, they're okay. But if in 3 weeks they drop down and they're like 15 games under 500, then they have a problem. But if they can hang right around that 5 to 7 mark, get Kershaw back. Walker Buehler is pitching great. Like, it's really actually kind of sad because it looks like this kid is going to be the next coming of Kershaw, unfortunately. So if they can keep that momentum, like keep it where they're at, or even improve a little bit, I think they can get back in there.
Yeah, I don't disagree. I mean, I guess I kind of agree on both sides. I guess my middle ground is I kind of think they would need to make a move even with Justin Turner coming back. They just don't seem to be clicking right now. But maybe a Justin Turner is what they need to get back to playing baseball. I mean, there's a lot of things that go into that game. It's a very complicated, complex game that goes into every day playing baseball.
So the Dodgers have been pretty disappointing this year. The Braves have been very outstanding, impressive.
Very impressive.
So Emmons, I'll let you lead off since we talked about this a little bit before the show, and you've got your thoughts together. What team has not played to their preseason expectations, whether good or bad?
One of us on this video call right now is wearing a hat of the team that has been probably one of the big disappointments in baseball. They already came in playing in a weak division. I mean, we all agreed that they'd probably win by like 18 games over the Twins. And they're not a good baseball team right now.
I did it. I predicted the Twins to win that division, just so we're clear.
Well, the Twins are bad too. Anybody can win. The Tigers can even win the division right now. That's how bad it is.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know what's going on with the Indians, to be honest. They looked horrible against the Tigers, who they've dominated over the last 2 seasons. They won 16 straight versus us, and we won the series. They aren't playing good baseball right now. To where they are right now, are they even in first place right now? Or
The
are the Twins in
Indians,
first
yeah,
place?
the Indians are in first place with a 22-23 record, I think.
That's horrible. So I mean, even if they win the division, they are by far to me over the Dodgers, over everything. Because I thought they were my team to make the World Series for me in my preseason predictions. So that's my answer. I mean, that's gotta be my answer, right? Because I had them go to the World Series, and they don't have a World Series roster right now. They don't even have be able to win a playoff series roster right now.
Matthew, what do you think?
I'm looking at the Nationals. I mean, I was kind of on the Phillies train before the season, but the Nationals, they're in fourth place right now. I mean, the Braves are playing well, the Phillies are playing well, and the Mets are playing well, but they haven't kind of taken off yet. So as much as they have up there in DC, I think they should be doing a lot better than that. In their last 10 games, they're 6-4.
I was kind of on the fence with Actually, I wasn't on the fence with this. I was 100% going the entire AL Central, and then Emmons kind of hijacked my thing. So I'm glad we talked about it before the show. So I'm looking at my standings. I'm gonna say, I can't believe I'm gonna say this. The Houston Astros. They're in first place in their division. They're only 2 games ahead of the Seattle Mariners right now. The Seattle Mariners, and they just lost Robinson Cano. They're on a 3-game win streak. They're 6-4 over the last 10 games.
6-4, yeah.
The Astros were supposed to run away with this division and have basically already buried the rest of the teams by now. That was kind of the expectation at the beginning of last year.
But they're 12 games over 500. I mean, that's just the Mariners.
Yeah, I was saying the Mariners might just be kind of playing a little more better baseball than we originally thought.
Right, but how many of those? I can't.
How many of those are against each other? How many times do they play?
Right. See, that's my problem with the MLB side is I can't actually see their.
I'd be curious to see what the Astros record was at this point last year too, because they were pretty much well ahead already last year.
Let me open.
I know they had that great start last year too, but
let me open up I'm going to open up their schedule really quick, but the fact that they did kind of struggle out of the gate, but the fact that they've kind of let the Angels and the Mariners kind of hang around.
I guess that's my thing though. Are they really? I mean, being 12 games over 500, is that really letting them hang around? I get it depends on the schedule and how they've played versus them.
They're 2 games behind the Red Sox, aren't they? Something like that.
Yeah, they're 3.
Yeah, they're 3 games.
They're 3-5 against the Angels so far this season. So
okay.
They have not done well against them necessarily. So yeah, that's why I said I can't believe I'm going to say it, but
the Astros are 3-1 against the Mariners.
Yeah, I saw that. So they've only played 4 games.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean,
all right.
Interesting.
Here, buddy. I'll rephrase. I'll revamp it then.
You should just go stick with your AL Central originally.
The Pittsburgh. I'll go with a different one. The Pittsburgh Pirates.
Oh, we get mulligans now.
Yeah, I'm gonna mulligan it. Pittsburgh Pirates, 26-20. You're 6 games over 500.
You should have just started. This one is already much better than your Houston Astros.
Yeah. I didn't look far enough. So you stole my thing. They're 26-20.
I picked the Indians. You had the whole AL Central. There's more teams than just the Indians in the AL Central.
So the Pirates are 26-20, 2 games back of the Brewers, who I believe I picked to win that division. And they're winning the division right now. I'm honestly just surprised they've hung around this long, especially with the Cubs, Cardinals, and Brewers all dominant. And the Brewers are doing that without Ryan Braun playing well. I think
I picked the Brewers too in my defense. So.
Ryan Braun is struggling. So I'll go with the Pirates and then I'll move on. It's not been a good night. It's not been a good night for me.
I was gonna say you're getting beat up tonight.
Yeah, we're getting beat up a little bit. We're gonna skip the pace of play rules. We won't talk about those. So we'll move straight into the what's on my mind topic. And Emmons alluded to it a little bit earlier. He actually
I'm just that good.
He texted me earlier in the week, and he was like, "What's your topic?" And I was like, "The opener." And he's like, "What's that?" And I was like, "Exactly. You'll see what I'm talking about." And then he brought it up earlier today. So if you haven't seen it, the Tampa Bay Rays, who are my hometown team,
Genius.
By the way, they're 1-8, or they started 1-8, and right now they're 21-22. So they're right under 500. Just took 3 of 4 from the Angels. And in that 3 of 4 from the Angels, 2 of those games, Sergio Romo started. Now, Sergio Romo is a career closer / setup guy.
He has his first 2 career starts. It was
not
like he started before.
It was his first 2 career starts in 588 appearances, I believe.
Yep.
So Sergio Romo started 2 games. Basically, what he did was he pitched to the top of the lineup, and for the Angels, that included Mike Trout. And then in the second inning, he turned it over to that day's starter, quote unquote, who then proceeded to throw the rest of the game. And baseball has always been one of those sports where people are like, well, we've done it this way for so long, we're going to keep doing this. And Kevin Cash was actually getting a lot of flack before the season talking about this bullpen day. How was this bullpen day thing that he was going to go in to do work out? If you look at the numbers, the pitching numbers, it actually has gone pretty well. The Rays haven't lost because of their pitching most of the time. It's because they haven't been able to hit the ball. When they started hitting the ball, they started winning, and that's why they're back to close to being 500. So my thing is innovation. It's a nice thing. It's a nice thing to see somebody, especially my head coach, being innovative and trying all these different strategies and trying bullpen days. He's got the opener going, and it's something he's going to continue to use. He's rotating in the young guys. He's not going down to the minors and like plucking guys who have been major leaguers and like, here, go play for a week until our guy gets back from the DL. He's going and getting, like Kevin Cash, going and getting Christian Arroyo and Willy Adames, who are our top guys in our organization. They're playing tonight. Willy Adames hit a home run in his second at bat, his first career hit. So coaches and organizations kind of need to really pay attention to what's happening and where the future of the sport is going, as far as innovation and facing guys like Trout and like Harper and like Stanton, and adjust accordingly to kind of mitigate their offensive abilities.
Not just that, but to get fans. I'm sorry, but
I was just about to say you're almost they're stuck in the past.
So
there's such a tradition sport. Like you have like your hardcore fans who don't want it to change at all. I almost compare it to boxing in a way because obviously baseball's way more popular than boxing. Yeah. But there's hardcore fans that don't want it to change. It's like the baseball, your baseball fans, like your hardcore guys, besides the guy like Josh or like any of us two, like who like actually sport. It's the old man get off my grass type of fan. Like they love it how it is. They don't want it to change. All these new rules that come up with the pace of play that we're going to talk about. I'm sure we'll talk about another time. They hate all of it.
Yeah.
Baseball's stuck in the past in a way, and guys like what he just did with Tampa Bay was genius in my mind.
Yeah.
He's great against the top of the order, so why not start off with a 1-2-3 inning and then hand it off to the starter in the second inning?
Imagine the psychological warfare that's playing on the other team.
Right. And then you get more innings out of your start. I mean, you get an extra inning out of your starter late in the game. You don't have to go to your
and that's the thinking behind the whole thing is the thinking is typically guys start to figure out relievers or around they start to figure out starting pitchers kind of around the second time they face them, they get a better feel, and then the third time the third time they face them, they're kind of really dialed in at that point to the pitcher.
Right.
So if you go out there and you're Mike Trout in first inning, you face Sergio Romo who throws from like a 3/4 arm motion, and then your next at bat you're facing Ryan Yarbrough, who you haven't seen before. He's a rookie, so you haven't seen him before. Now you're at your fourth at bat, which is like the 8th inning before you're like figuring this guy out. Guess what? Now you're down 3-0 in the 8th inning. Well, here comes Chaz Rowe out of the bullpen, who's going to be the setup guy tonight. Well, now I haven't seen a pitcher 3 times yet tonight. I have no idea what's going on. Don't know what this guy throws. And then, if you get an at bat in the 9th, you're facing Colomé or whatever, whatever the closer may be for whatever team. So I feel like we're going to see more teams adapt and pick up on this closer thing as the year goes on, or the opener thing as the year goes on.
So is he going to be the baseball's Chip Kelly? That's what needs to happen. We need a Chip Kelly in baseball.
So
I'm going to say.
if you're gonna say as far as innovation, I'll say yes.
Right. Yeah. No, I know where you're going with this.
Yeah. If you're gonna say as far as innovation, I'll say yes. Just because he's kind of gotten to the point where he's not going to win. I'll just say it: the Rays are not going to win baseball games in a conventional style. They're gonna have to do unconventional things to win baseball games. And the last thing I'll point out as far as innovation, and you see this with more teams than just the Rays. I saw it with the Yankees first, I believe. Like batting Aaron Judge second, whereas typically your power guys would hit 3, 4, 5. Moving him up a spot in the order, getting another on-base guy down in that 9 hole, so you get 2 guys in front of him a little later in the game where you need those runs. So that's something innovative that baseball has done, is kind of move that best hitter into the 2 spot versus the 3 spot. It might end up actually netting them an extra at bat. And last stat, and then we'll close it out for the night. Just in regards to the opener thing that I was talking about before, I just remembered the stat. The most runs scored in a game on average are scored in the first inning. So throwing out a guy like Sergio Romo, or if you're a Yankees fan, if they put Dellin Betances out there in the first inning, that limits, the highest scoring inning statistically across the sport. So if you cut that number down, you have a better chance to win. So we'll move on. We'll close out the show. Matt, thanks for joining us, even though it was a little late. Appreciate you joining us. Appreciated your input on your coaches, on defending your coach. Emmons, thanks for being here again. 11. We're at 11 weeks now, boys. 11 weeks.
Yeah, it's been fun.
I'm getting old.
You're getting old.
I found this is exciting for me. This is my first show. You guys have gone at it. I haven't gone at it with Josh, but I had a little bit today, so it's fun for me. Got my blood pressure going.
So if you're watching, thank you for watching. If you watch the recordings, thank you for watching the recordings. You can follow us on Twitter and Facebook. Emmons has a SoundCloud set up as well. Did you get the Apple set up yet? The iTunes?
No? I haven't heard back. I'll figure it out.
Okay, that's fine. So at least we got SoundCloud set up. Also on YouTube is where you can watch the recordings, as well as Twitch TV for the past broadcasts. You can follow all of us individually on Twitter. We all have Twitter pages. I'm sure it's in the bio of the podcast. But that's going to be all for Week 11. We'll be back Week 12 next Tuesday night at 8:30 p.m. We'll see you guys all then. Thanks.
See ya.